I was just trying to catch up. Are you recording?
Yes.
I was just trying to catch up on some of my Rabbi Kessin lectures. Mm-hmm. I watched half of Tu B'Shvat, and now I'm watching Esav.
Nice.
Esav's Birthright.
Nice.
Yeah. And pretty cool so far.
They should make a trip for people who want to convert to Judaism. A trip to Israel called Esav's Birthright.
Esav's Birthright.
Mm-hmm. Like people who are in the process of conversion and they want to go to a trip to Israel. You know?
Well, I don't know, man. I don't know if that's accurately. That might be a misnomer.
No, I know. I'm kidding.
Because Esav has his own birthright. He has his own job. It's not. Mm-hmm. It's not to become Jewish.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. If somebody has the inclination to become Jewish, then that, well, the rabbis say that they were Yaakov all along.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. Speaking of which.
But yeah.
This is a headline in Jerusalem Post. Privacy Authority probing reported police use of NSO hacking tech on Israelis. Yeah, I mean, like, you know. Police reportedly hacked into phones of ordinary citizens, including leaders of anti-Netanyahu protests. Yeah, I mean, we knew that. Hello? What was that noise?
Yeah. No, I'm listening, man. It's crazy. When was this?
I mean, this is a report from today, but when did this happen? Probably during, like, all this, against the protesters. What's it say? Everything is done with necessary legal authorization. Oh. Whatever.
You gotta love it. Why do they even bother?
Who?
Why do they even bother pretending like they're trying to do things
yeah,
legally?
Right?
But even legally, if you're living in a country that is not big on laws,
or enforce.
I mean, not big on freedom.
Yeah.
Then who cares? You know what I mean? Like legally.
Every time,
like, you know, it's kind of like you know. Like Sodom and Gomorrah, right? Like they had legal. You can legally hurt someone if you want.
Yeah, it's like just because there's laws and you're breaking them doesn't mean the laws are just. It's like every time I talk to, like, you know, some of these American olim, I'm like, it's almost like they moved to Israel and they forgot about this whole freedom concept. And you know what they justify every time? They'll say, Kol Yehudim Aravim Zel Lazer. That's the concept we have in Israel. I'm like,
like
every Jew is another Jew's guarantor, meaning like we gotta win this together. I'm like,
yeah, but what does that mean?
The hell does that mean?
Make that much sense.
Yeah. So what? I have to go with you to the over the cliff or what? If you're going over the cliff, I have to go with you.
I think that's basically what it. I think that's what it means.
Yeah.
It's so profoundly stupid. It's stupid, profoundly. I can't help it, dude. I'm.
Is that Werner Herzog?
I can't stop. My wife's like, stop already. I tell her I cannot because I grew up in Bavaria and there was no running water. I did not see film. I did not see the cinema until I was 11.
Nanobots, and then we will put wearables inside of, and then we will have. And I spoke to Prime Minister Netanyahu, and we were speaking about cybersecurity, and I know how much this means to him. And he said, do whatever you want. Take over the country for all I care. I said, okay, let's do it. We did it to you before, and now we'll do it again. Do whatever you want.
It will be on the global level.
It would be, yes, startups. Before we had local level, now we do global level.
Yeah, we must coordinate, in order to make, things happen quicker than they had in the past. And, we must facilitate this. We must bring like minds together who want to bring impact on the world.
Yes, I was listening to Eric Schmidt and he said the robots will win. Therefore, if we were to win, we have to become like the robots.
We must. Yeah, we have to merge. We have to merge with the robots.
Microchips.
Yes.
We must implant on ourselves.
Nanobots. Nanobots swimming in the bloodstream.
Yes.
And they will control things like I will control the world.
Who's that guy that they said
I'm sorry, I had the flare up. I'm sorry, I did not.
Like the guy, like the guy from James Bond. What's his? What was the character?
Blofeld.
Yeah.
Stavros. I forgot it. What was it?
Stavro Blofeld or something. Stavro.
Yeah. So this guy, hold on.
Something like that.
Blonde Moonraker and Blofeld. 1 second.
I want to find the book. It's episode 42, so I want to find the book.
Oh man, episode. Oh, dude, that's Anna Bakoach. We got to do something about 42.
Yeah, I'm looking for that in my book. It's here and it's underneath a bunch of books. Hold on.
Blofeld. Ernst Stavro Blofeld.
Okay, nothing collapses. 1 second. Hopefully nothing collapses here. Okay, very good. Skoyach. Alright, let me just go upstairs here.
Ernst Stavro Blofeld.
We were nanobot.
Yes, we will become a cloud of nanobots that can form itself into whatever is necessary for the circumstances.
Yes. Talk about hidden in plain sight, huh? And then this Dr. Mousy just had a meeting with him on the World Economic Zoom forum, World Economic. And then they asked like Bennett about Iran today, and then he's like, yeah, we can't keep giving money to Iran. And everybody in the forum is probably like, well, yes, we can.
He just did it.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Like douche. Do you want me to read about 42?
I want you to read the 42, and absolutely.
Yeah.
Positive. We
have to cancel out this nanobot situation. All right. It's called 42.
I have to contend with you a little bit about the nanobots.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There's nothing wrong with the nanobots. There's nothing wrong with these things, aiding humanity.
Yeah.
Right? But you have to create first a situation where the person has full disclosure about every aspect of it, the effect it would have, who has control over it, who doesn't. All of that has to be settled before.
Agency. Okay? It's called agency.
Yes, it has to be. Yeah. People have to be informed, and then people can make the decision about what they want to do.
But if we inform them, they will know how horrific it is, and they will never participate willingly. We must. It's for their own good. Don't you understand, you cretin?
No, but yes, I understand.
Are you from Crete? Are you from the island of Crete? Are you a Cretan?
I am not. I am not. But you are profoundly stupid. My name is Werner Herzog, and you are stupid like a chicken. You don't understand anything, you old fool. You are like the ones from before, the ones who destroyed Germany. Okay.
It's so weird.
Yeah, we should have those guys face off. But anyway, hold on. My point is like this.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with the technology. The technology itself is the organus, the lower organus. Yeah. It's who controls it, whose hands it falls into, and how they try to use it against us rather than for us. That's the little nuance that we're getting all our panties in a bunch about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yep.
That little nuance is everything.
So it's interesting you say that, sir, because the number 42 relates to the number of journeys taken by man to reach the ultimate destination. Ooh.
Yes.
In the process, it is the means by which man reveals his true self. That's what they're saying. And now it's called On the Road, like Willie Nelson. On the road again. The road again. Music with my friends. Yeah. All right, the number 42 often denotes the stages of revelation or journeys undertaken to arrive at a given endpoint. A journey is not simply about arriving in a final geographical location. Just as important are the steps taken along the road toward the final destination. Every stage is intrinsically significant. This principle applies to an individual's journey through life, as mirrored in the national journeys of the children of Israel through the wilderness. The journey of becoming. Man should not view his existence as a fait accompli. It is a mistake to think that prior to his birth, man did not yet exist. Now after his birth, he does. This outlook is erroneous. No living person, erroneous on all counts. No living person exists in this world in a finished state of being. Every moment in this world, man is coming into a new state of existence. Life is a continuous state of becoming. Every additional second, minute, hour, day, month, or year provides an additional opportunity for spiritual growth, progress, and development. His true identity is revealed only after life in this world is ended. Death marks his fully formed state of existence. This final state will exist for all eternity in Olam Haba, the world to come. The rabbinic term Mitziut, existence, is derived from the root word Yitzia, coming out, hinting at the continuous transformation in life from potential to actual, where a state that was earlier concealed is now revealed. The journey of life, which involves journeying from one place to another, from one situation to the next, is about living in life in a continuous state of revelation. 42. Journeys in the wilderness. This philosophy of life as revelation finds national expression in the journeys of the children of Israel after their exodus. The Torah records the travels the Jewish people took during their 40-year trek through the wilderness to the Promised Land. All the stages of their sojourning add up to a total of 42 journeys. The Nascent Nation's journey of self-revelation is specifically described using the term Motzaechem, going forth, a variation of the term Yetziyah, coming out. This process immediately began after Yetzias Mitzrayim, going out of Egypt. It was ultimately completed following a total of 42 journeys upon their entry to the Holy Land. Nothing is recorded in Torah merely as historical facts. All biblical events provide a precedent or a template for eternity. Just as the wandering children of Israel undertook journeys in the wilderness until they reached their homeland, so the Jewish people were also historically destined to undertake numerous journeys in the wilderness of the nations, following their later states of exile until their final return to the homeland. 42 journeys of a lifetime. Actually, the Jewish people's journey to their homeland acts as an important metaphor for the passage from the barren wastelands of Olam Hazeh, this world, en route to the spiritual plateau of Olam Haba, the world to come. The ascent toward the lofty spiritual heights of the Holy Land is a symbol, a journey of life. Okay. Man's accomplishments on the earth below earn him eternal life in the spiritual world above. The end of life sees his arrival to the heavenly land, and Yerushalayim Shel Mala, Jerusalem's heavenly counterpart above. Likewise, the 42 national journeys in the wilderness find their parallel in the 42 journeys of the individual that begin from birth. The Exodus is symbolic of the birth from the Jewish nation and continue until his arrival to his final destination and eternal inheritance, entry to the Holy Land. The passage through human life is itself a journey of revelation. Each leg of the journey serves as another step towards the attainment of his goal. Together, his activities and pursuits in Olam Hazeh serve as the essential means of revealing his spiritual, eternal existence in Olam Haba, his ultimate destination. Reveal the higher state. The 42-stage process of revelation reflects the mystical 42-letter name of God connected with creation, which is an expression of God's oneness. Here we see creation as the medium through which man readies himself for the revelation of something greater. The 42-letter name of God. One of the holy names of God is Shem Mem 2 little chupchiks bet. The name of 42 as it is composed. Shem 42 as it is composed of 42 Hebrew letters. This divine name is derived from the 42-letter sequence between the first letter of the Torah, base of Bereshit, to the base of the word Tohu Avohu, without form and void. The genesis of the universe unfolded during the 6 days of creation, climaxing with its grand conclusion on the seventh day, Shabbos.
Can you repeat? Go back 3 sentences.
Okay.
Please.
One of the holy names. This.
Yeah.
One of the holy names of God is Shem Mem Bet, or Mem 2 apostrophes Bet. The name of 42, as it is composed of 42 Hebrew letters. This divine name is derived from the 42-letter sequence between the first letter of the Torah, base of Bereshis, and to the base of the word Tohu Ovohu, without form and void. So it's basically all in Bereshis, Parshas Bereshis in the beginning. The genesis of the universe unfolded during the 6 days of creation, climaxing with its grand conclusion on the 7th day, Shabbos. We have noted that the numbers 6 and 7 are symbolic. What is that noise?
Hold on, that's my wife is cooking. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna turn the mic off.
There's like a clicking noise. There's a clicking noise also.
Right now?
There was.
Okay, I'm gonna turn the mic off just in case.
Okay.
Go ahead.
We have noted that the numbers 6 and 7 are symbolic of the completed physical realm of 6, that is, in turn, directed towards the holiness of 7 in the full service of God. Their interplay links to the full revelation of 42 is hinted at in the product of these two numbers. 6 times 7 equals 42. Together, the elements in the universe join the process to reveal the oneness of God. The 6 days of creation as the weekly journey towards reaching the 7th day, Shabbos, corresponds to the 6 millennia of existence in this world as the antechamber leading to the world to come, which is equivalent to the day of Shabbos. Both the week and the world are the requisite preparations to reaching a higher spiritual realm. 42 words, Ana B'Koach. There you go. The 42-letter divine name relates to the 42-word prayer of Ana B'Koach, pleased with the power, of heartfelt plea composed by Rabbi Nechunia ben Hakon, I guess it's Ben Hakohen.
His name is Rabbi Nechunia ben Hakana.
Kane? That's what it is? Oh, it sounded type.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Kane,
okay, fine. Asking God to accept man's prayers. Its structure is organized as 7 verses, each composed of 6 words. This prayer carries the motif of transformation from a lower mode of existence to a higher level. One well-known example of this can be seen in the Friday night service. It opens with a saying of 6 psalms before reciting Ana B'Koach, which serves as a prelude to the poetic composition Lecha Dodi. This 42-word prayer marks the transformation from the mundane 6 weekdays to the 7th day of Shabbos. Standing at the threshold, it attaches the secular to the holy to mark a new form of existence. 4 words, Shema. 42 words, Shema, sorry. The revelation of creation as a journey toward a higher ideal finds its expression within the 42-word formulation of Shema. The proclamation of God's oneness is contained within the opening 6-word formula. Shema Israel, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Hear, O Israel, Hashem is our God, Hashem is one. The oneness of God's holy name must spread out to permeate all of creation, which is linked to the 42-letter name of God. So the ensuing first paragraph of Shema, following the first verse, contains an additional 42 words. Reciting this passage, a Jew lovingly accepts upon himself the oneness and heavenly kingship of God. With these words, he pledges to devote his 42-leg journey in the physical world to the service of God. Every ensuing step in his journey through life is to reveal yet another dimension going higher and higher. 42. Journey of Ascents. Existence, both in its genesis and in its ongoing development, is a double process of revelation. There is the revelation of God in the universe through the 42-letter divine name. Every stage of the journey serves to spread the unity of God throughout creation. There is also the revelation of man as manifest through his 42 stages of life, represented by the national journey from Egypt through the wilderness into the Holy Land, and the passage from this world to the world to come. Actually, these revelations are interrelated. The true revelation of who man is works in concert with the revelation of who God is. Man was created to use his free will to reveal God, and by revealing God, man is simultaneously revealing the true essence of his being, namely the godliness of his divine soul. Jewish life is an eye-opening journey of discovery. Each stage constitutes another step in the revelation of man's true self. Every step of the way is a transformation in what is a continuous ascent to a higher level. The 42 journeys join together to provide a unified picture of the full person. Often the journey contains many unexpected twists and turns along the way, but these should not cause man to stop in his tracks. They are simply another opportunity for man to actualize his potential. Every step of the journey contains the possibility for man to transfer himself into a higher state of existence, and he can then make the jump by taking the temporary physical realm of 6 and directing it to the spiritual world of 7. That's all you got. No? What do you think? Hello? Hello?
Sorry, I was talking and the mic was off. I said when you're like, how do you like that? I was like, I got a lot more. I would like to read a number of things if patience permits.
Please, yeah, do that.
Okay, so this is first thing I'm going to start with. This is an article on a website called Iyun, IYYUN.
Is this
Center for Jewish Spirituality? That's Rabbi Dovber Pinson.
Yes, I found out that he had apparently he always does it, but I didn't know he was going to do this year Tu B'Shvat Seder, and I missed it on Sunday.
It was in Teaneck.
It was in Teaneck. I thought it was in Brooklyn. It's in Teaneck.
I saw something on YouTube, but
really?
he was having something in Teaneck. I think he had two of them. One of them, the evening one, and then the one by day.
There was one with Zusha. These guys. Hold on. The Pinson. Tu B'Shvat.
Well, all right. We'll get
Center, yeah. It was in hold on. Oh, that was last year. Previous years.
You can subscribe to his channel on YouTube.
Yeah. So. It was at Iyun Center. I think that's in Brooklyn.
I think it's a Park Slope.
Yeah, Brooklyn, Sackett Street. Yeah, it's the same place as he usually had it. Anyway.
Okay, so here we go. Here's the article. Ana B'Koach. So, Ana B'Koach, the prayer. The Ana B'Koach prayer as a whole represents a movement, you mentioned this, from one state to another. It is made up of 7 verses corresponding to the 7 days of the week. Yeah. The initials of each of the 7 verses form divine names. This mystical and lofty prayer is attributed to the 1st century sage. He was a Tana, Rabbi Nehunia ben Hatana.
Yeah.
I think Sefer Bakir is also attributed to him, if I'm not mistaken. I think it is. Okay. Now, so it's attributed to him as he doesn't mean that he formulated it. He taught it. Right. He's famous for teaching this prayer. Okay, it's important to remember.
Yeah.
All right. So because he didn't create divine names we receive from the tradition. So this mystical and lofty prayer is attributed to the 1st century sage Rabbi Nehunia ben Akana. It is a prayer that consists of 7 passages, each corresponding to the 7 emotional sphirot, through which the divine energy sustains and nourishes our universe. That's sphirot from Chesed. Okay, so it's Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Netzach, Chod, Yesod, and Malchut. Those are the sphirot, 7, and those are the sphirot that sustain our universe. Okay, so this energy was created in a 7-day cycle. Ana B'Koach represents the 7 sphirot, and for this reason is recited in prayers wherever there is a symbolic ascent of divine energy from a lower plane to a higher one, or whenever there is any movement from one reality into the next. Okay, so the 42-letter name is connected with creation. Ana B'Koach is also known as the 42 names of Hashem. Yeah. Names, plural. As there are 42 words in this prayer, the initials of these words create the 42-letter name of Hashem. The divine name is connected with creation, and the first verses in the Torah, you mentioned that speak of creation. So the authors of the Tosfot write in the volume of Talmud, which is called Chagiga. Chagiga is about holiday observance, especially the three festivals that require pilgrimage to Jerusalem. Okay, so the Tosfot, these are commentators lived 1,000 years ago. So on page 11 on the B side of Chagiga, they said that this name is connected with the first 2 verses in the Torah. Also, Rabbi Abulafia in his book Chaye HaOlam Haba on page 57 talks about it.
Mm-hmm.
Year later, I mean, he actually lived maybe like 80 years after the Tosfot, and or maybe 100. And then there's the Ramak, Rabbi Moshe Cordovero. He writes about it in Pardes Rimonim, in Pratai Shemot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there. So it's explained that the 42-letter name corresponds to the first 42 letters of the Torah. He comes to this conclusion through various methods in gematria, such as Atbash or Ayik and others. So we got to do an episode on at least the first 10 gematria systems, including the transformation methods, the letter transformation methods. That's like a whole conversation in itself. We got to show people the different systems of how information is encoded within the text of the Torah, to show that it's mathematical. I keep talking about its mathematical nature and how all the information about everything that ever existed is encoded and layered in the text. We got to begin to show people what we're talking about here. I have a book that specializes in that.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. Now, 6 letters in each of the 7 lines that correspond to the 6 surfaces of a cube. Okay, we have to picture a cube. So a cube is, think about it in directions. It's also related to, how we shake the lulav. So it kind of reminisces of a cube. So let me start again. There are 6 words in each of the 7 lines that correspond to the 6 surfaces of a cube. Okay, in this prayer there are 6 words, and in each of the 7 lines. There's 7 lines of prayer, and there's 6 words in each. Okay, so picture that. You think we can maybe link a picture of the Anna B'Koach?
We will.
Maybe as a thumbnail.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so that when people see this, that would be okay. Cool. So these 6 surfaces, or these 6 sides of a cube, are up, down, left, right, front, and back. Okay, so these 6 directions are connected with the verse from the vision of Yecheskel. Yecheskel is the Hebrew for Ezekiel, right? Where in his vision it says, quote, "With 2 they covered their faces, with 2 they covered their feet, and with 2 they flew." 7 6-letter names are found in each line using the first letter of each of the 6 words in that line. So that's important, because you can't actually pronounce the name. As you're saying these words, you're keeping in mind, you're focusing on the first letter, and then you realize that you're indirectly saying one of these divine names, which is not allowed to be pronounced directly. Okay, that's part of the point of this prayer. So instead, when we look at them, we're supposed to scan and visualize it, but we never pronounce it. Okay, as each line corresponds to a specific day of the week, so each 6-letter acronym gives us a meditation for that day. Okay, so the first line / name is about Sunday, and then the second is Monday, and the third is Tuesday, and so on and so forth. Okay, now the 42-letter name. This name is related to Moshe and the sneh, the burning bush. When God first appeared to Moshe, he asked by what name he should use to call God, the infinite, right? So because God was sending him on this mission, and he was saying, so what name should I use when I go there? What name? Who's sending me, right? Who should I say? So God responded, Echye Asher Echye, which has been translated into English as I will be as I will be. Okay, so the numerical value of the name Echye is a name of God, right? It's one of the higher, actually, very, very high name of God. And so the numerical value, the gematria of that name is 21. Okay, because it's Aleph is 1, Hey is 5, Yud is 10, and Hey is 5. So together it's 21. Okay, so the name Echia is repeated twice for a total gematria of 42. Okay.
Yeah.
Echia, Asher, Echia, right? So the name is said twice, so it's 42. So the holy name Membet or Mob, right, also has this numerical value. This name expresses the divine as timeless and eternal, forever with his people in their sorrows and tribulations. When recited from the heart, Anab the Koach evokes this same kind of revelation from on high. 42 is also connected with the 42 letters in the name of Hashem, which is the Yud Hey Vav Hey. I'll say that again. 42 is also connected with the 42 letters in the name of Hashem, the Yud Hey Vav Hey. So this name has 4 letters, okay? Yud Hey Vav Hey, it's 4 letters, which when spelled out become 10 letters. When these 10 letters are spelled out, there are 28 letters. Okay?
Yeah.
So this is the breakdown. Look. We first start with the 4 basic letters. Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. Okay? Then when you do when you spell out the name of each letter, right? That's called in Hebrew the milui, right? Or the filling out, or the spelling out, okay? So it starts with Yud, which is Yud Vav Dalet, and then Hey, which is Hey Yud, then Vav is Vav Vav, and then hold on a second. Something is strange here. Just a minute. I apologize to the folks at home. Let me try it again. Okay, so again, we have the 4. We're going back to the 4 letters of Yud Hey Vav Hey. Okay, so but when we spell it out, we have Yud Vav Dalet. That's the Yud. Then we have Hey Yud. That's the Hey. Okay, and then with the Vav you have Vav Vav, and then you have Vav Yud Vav in this case, right? So there's 3 ways. Just wanted to remind the folks at home that there are 3 ways to spell the name of the letter Hey, and also 3 ways to spell the name of the letter Vav. Okay, so in this case we're spelling it's Vav Yud Vav. Okay, and then again, of course, the Hey is Hey Yud. So altogether, that's 10 letters. When you do the filling out of the letter of the name of God, right? Yud Hey Vav Hey, it ends up with 10 letters. Now, then but recall that each one of these 10 letters can be further filled out. Okay, so it keeps growing like that, and with 3 steps of employing this method, you get to 42 letters. Okay, so the name Mob, which just means the name Membet, 42, is additionally connected with the sphere of Gevura.
Oh, can you give me 1 second? Just give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Okay. We're back. All right. So where were you?
I was just talking about how Yud Hey Vav Hey expands out, where it becomes 42 letters. So I sent you a picture of how that works.
Yes.
See it?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe we can include that. If we could link that so people can actually see what we're talking about. Okay, cool. Okay, so again, I'm just look at the photo. I'm starting to read from text on the bottom of the photo. Okay, so the name Membet, the name 42, is additionally connected with the sphere of Gevura. Gevura is restraint, restriction. Restriction is necessary for an elevation, within to a higher level. Therefore, this prayer is recited whenever we reach a place of elevation. Okay? The 42-letter name connected with movement from slavery to freedom. There can be no elevation without this name, as it embodies the ultimate movement of elevation. The progression from slavery, which is constriction, to freedom, which is expansion. this journey of 42 is reflected in the story of our exodus from Egypt, a place of constriction and limitation. The etymological root of the Hebrew word for Egypt is, the word for Egypt is Mitzrayim. And the root of this word is metzar, which means constriction. Being, confinement, constricted, like stifled.
Yeah.
So in Mitzrayim, the Israelites were literally slaves who were then given freedom. Internally, they were enslaved to their lower selves, meaning, to their Yetzer Hara, right? And leaving Egypt represents a movement into genuine freedom. Before they were able to reach their full freedom, to enter the Promised Land, they were engaged in 42 journeys, which are elaborated in the Torah portion called Maaseh.
Yeah.
These are known as the 42 journeys, which, according to the Baal Shem Tov, represent 42 stages a person goes through in life.
Yeah.
As the 42-letter name represents movement, bridging one reality to the next, this idea is reflected in this prayer we call Kaddish, which is the bridge that connects to healing after the separation of death. In Kaddish, there are 7 words beginning with the letter Vav, from Vayishtabach to Vayishalal. As there are 7 general names in Ana B'Koach. Okay, so there's a correspondence there. Vav is the 6th number. Okay, and so then we have 7 times 6 equals 42. Okay, so here we also see that each of these words has 6 letters, just as there are 6 letters in each acrostic name of Ana B'Koach. Okay, not to be pronounced. At all times, the full 42-letter name is present, but one line and one acronymic name of the 7 is most felt each day. Okay, so this name is very sacred indeed, and certainly should not be pronounced. In Tractate Avodah Zarah, which is it's a volume of Talmud called Avodah Zarah, on page 17b, the Gemara speaks very harshly in regards to those who pronounce this name in full. In Tractate Kiddushin, that's another volume of the Talmud, it reveals the following. Rav Yehuda, this is a quote, Rav Yehuda said in the name of Rav, the 42-letter name is entrusted only to him who is unassuming, who is humble, should be middle-aged, free from anger, never gets drunk, and is not insistent on his rights. And he who knows it is heedful thereof and observes it in purity. Is beloved above. He's beloved by heaven and popular below. And he is feared by man and inherits 2 worlds, this world and the future world. As there is an inherent meaning to these names, they are only to be scanned and visualized. By the way, the when it said future world, that was the end of the quote. I just forgot that. Sorry. Back to the main text. As there is an inherent meaning to these names, they are only to be scanned and visualized. So the Rishonim, which are the early commentators, for instance, Rashi, the Rambam, Tosfot, these are Rishonim, 1,000 years ago. So the Rishonim have different views on how these names should be read. One view sees each line as one whole name. Another holds that there are 3 letters per name and 2 names per line. Okay, thus the names should be said as 2 words together. Okay, as in the first line, just like Ana B'Koach, right? Or Gedulat Yamincha, Tatia Trura. Okay, those are the first 3 lines. So the names and the days of the week. Okay, as mentioned above, the 42-letter name is connected with creation and is linked to the first verses of the Torah, which speak of creation. This is a name very closely associated with the weekly unfolding of time, the 6 days of the week, and the Shabbat. So Rav Hai Gaon, who was one of the Gaonim. He was even before he lived. He was born in the year 939, and he passed away in 1038.
This is before Rashi.
Yeah, this is prior to Rashi. So this is also Sadia Gaon was also around this time. Okay, so he was
Sadia Gaon. I know he was like not a fan of. He was not a fan of the Kabbalah, or more rationalist.
No. That's absolutely not true. There's all sorts of rumors about him. Here's what he mentioned. Just kind of.
Okay.
People say, "Oh, he didn't believe in reincarnation. He didn't believe in reincarnation," which is actually not what he said. Okay, so the Jewish view of reincarnation is not like the views of reincarnation from some of the Eastern traditions. So in those days, so Sadia Gaon, he lived in basically a newly formed Islamic kingdom.
Yeah.
Okay. And and Islam was very much against the doctrine of reincarnation, as it's talked about in Hinduism and in Buddhism and similar traditions. Okay. But in those traditions, they're describing a full reincarnation, meaning like the same exact person who was here in a previous life is now completely back, the same exact person. Okay?
Person as in physically, or just the neshama?
No, the consciousness. The consciousness. Okay. I don't think that you have to have the same body as before.
Yeah.
We're not talking about a resurrection. That just but the person fully intact with just like the same exact dude that you knew, but in a completely new body. Okay, so the type of, we don't really talk about that. When Gilgal, right? Talk about Gilgulim. That's not describing full reincarnation. So actually, I've heard in other lectures, and I've read. There's a great book called Life After Life, which was actually written by Rabbi Pinson here, where basically think about your neshama, your consciousness, right? Just let's use a metaphor. Think about it as a geometric shape, like a soccer ball.
Yeah.
You know how like soccer balls used to be made up of like different like little hexagons and pentagons, right? Like little like tiles, right? Like, can you picture the old soccer balls?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the ones.
So they were like made of like hexagons.
Yeah, the ones that Maradona played with in '86.
Yeah. So the soul, right, is like one of these balls. Okay, and each little facet, each little one of these patches, right, that would be a person. Okay, so it's like, imagine you have one of these soccer balls, okay, and you dip and you find a puddle. Yeah. You're walking on the street, you find a puddle. Yeah. You take the soccer ball and you dip it into the puddle. Now the puddle represents our universe, this physical, corporeal reality that we live in, okay? And that facet that is underneath the water in that puddle, right, that's a person. So whenever you're walking around you're talking to a person, you're just seeing one little frame of that soccer ball. Yeah. Okay? Like one little hexagon, okay? Sure. Geometric shape, whatever, okay? And it's submerged in this world, okay? And then while it's here, you could think about it, think about it also as a blank piece of paper, right? When it gets here, its story is written, it has its experiences, and it adds to the entire consciousness that it is connected to. It's full soul. So each facet of this ball gets to have a life. Okay. Now, the facets are all part of one soul, but they're not the same person. You understand? They're connected. They're connected. They're part of a soul, but it's the aspect of the soul that hasn't been introduced to this world yet. So it's like a new person, even though it's part of the same soul. Okay, so it's a soul with many facets. So that's not the reincarnation that the Eastern religions are describing. Okay, so Sadhya Gaon, he was commenting on those traditions. So as far as I know, no one ever asked him about Gilgulim. Okay, what we just described. So okay, so I'm going to get back to the text now. Okay, you got about 5 minutes to nap, and then.
I know. I'm listening.
I can hear you drifting away.
No, I'm not drifting away at all. I'm not drifting away at all.
All right. I've been hurt before, Greg. I've been hurt. Okay, that's fine. I'm sensitive.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, okay. So what did Rev Hai Gaon say already? For God's sake. So he said he was one of the last sages of the Gaonic period, and he deciphers the names and how they relate to the days of the week. So these. Okay. So Sunday is, you know what? Let's open on a Pacoach. So hang on a second. Got to open up this prayer. It's in the Siddur. It's contained in all the Siddurim. Okay. Come on, man. Okay, so the first line is Anabakoa, then it's Gedulat Yamincha, and Tatir Terura. Okay, so what is it? So he's talking about Avag Yatzat. One second. So, okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Avag Yatats. I'm sorry, Avag Yatats. So Avag Yatats is an acronym for the first 6 words. For the first 6 words in this prayer. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words, and you have 7 lines with each line having 6 words. So the first line, the acronym for it is Avag Yatats, and this corresponds to Sunday. Okay? So Av, right? Because you hear the word Av in this name. That means Father, right? Implying our Father in heaven, God. Okay. Then the next sounds you hear are Yud and Gimel. Okay. So that's our Father in heaven who embodies the 13 attributes of mercy, because Yud and Gimel is 13, right? Yud Gimel. Yud is 10 and Gimel is 3. So we've read elsewhere about the 13 attributes of mercy. Okay. And then the last part is Tats, right?
Yeah.
Tats. And so that breaks, it means breaks, as in it breaks all the levels of Klippa, of the husks, the concealment, basically it breaks the Satan, it breaks the Sitra Achra. Okay? Because remember, the Sitra Achra wants to create a Klippa on all truth, right? It wants to create a husk to surround and to enclose a truth, to hide it. Okay. Now, on this Sunday level, there are little or no concealments. In the Torah, Sunday is called Yom Echad, day 1, and it doesn't call it Yom Rishon, which would mean the first day. It says Yom Echad. Actually, just Yom Echad means 1 day. Yeah. Technically. So day 1 is only unity. It's oneness, right? It's the one, right? God. So, which is the Av, the Father. And also we have the 13 attributes of mercy coming from Keter, the sphere of Keter, the highest, the crown sphere. Okay? The sphere, which is the sphere of Kesser, and it's attributed to the parts of Arif Anpin, whatever. Don't worry about that. We'll get to that some other time. This is a time of perfect and complete unity coming from the holiness of Shabbat.
Yeah.
Before any plurality comes into the picture, before work, before a work mentality. Okay?
Yeah.
So the meditation for Sunday is to bring the consciousness and idea of unity of Shabbat into the weekdays. Instead of being pulled down by the ensuing week to come, we meditate. We have a kavanah, an intention, and we feel lifted by the Shabbat that was just completed. Okay? So the kavanah is chesed, which is kindness and openness and being giving, and then consciousness. We have to think about us as the tree of life, right? And we, interesting that we just, we just became the tree of life, or we realized that we are the tree of life after Tu B'Shvat, right?
Yeah.
That's what that was all about. Okay, which is also related to unity. Okay, and the energy of this is also unity. Now Monday is the second line of the prayer. Okay, and the acronym for all the words in the second line of the prayer is Kara Satan. Very interesting. So the word Kara means to rip apart. Okay, to tear open, to tear apart. And then the second word is Satan.
Yeah.
Okay, which is it means Satan really means the consciousness of duality, otherness, and separation, which really just means opponent, obstacle. Okay, that's actually what the word Satan means. It's not even the name of an angel; it's the name of a job. Satan, the opponent.
Yeah.
In the text of Tanakh, there are people who are referred to as a Satan, and they're not.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be implied that they are Satan. It's just saying that they are an opponent. Okay?
Yeah.
In Tanakh, we have that. So the Torah discusses the second day as the creation of separateness and division. On this day, there is the division between higher and lower waters. Okay, the Midrash adds that it is the creation of Gehenna. It talks about that as Gehenna was created on the second day. So the second day is so much related to division that the words, quote, "it is good," which appear on all the other days of creation, are omitted on this day. Yeah. Right? So when we're reading in the first chapter of Genesis, he's talking about when it's describing the creation of day 2, you're not going to find the words "it is good," as you for all the rest of them. So this idea of hell, right, Gehenna, is the opposite of unity.
Can I say something about Gehenna?
Sure.
So, I made a video today calling out rabbis who see something wrong, and I said that they should openly speak about it instead of not speaking about it, as opposed to the rabbis who are pushing whatever, pushing the what. And somebody responded in the comment section, or actually no, on WhatsApp in one of my groups, they said, whichever rabbi doesn't speak up, they should spend, eternity in Gehenna. And I said, the irony of what you're saying is that they're not going to need to spend eternity in Gehenna, because if they don't speak up, Has v'Shalom, they may experience the same Gehenna as what rabbis who didn't speak up 80 years ago experienced. So they might experience Gehenna on earth. They're not going to need to go to Gehenna. It's
right.
just, it's, I don't even want to, whatever, Has v'Shalom.
And not to be a stickler.
Yeah.
But
for a tickler.
But I'm gonna. And this is, I'm gonna channel Rabbi Kessin. He often says that, what a horrible idea of Gehenna. There's no, meaning forever. There's no eternal hell, right? Like evil, it will be abolished entirely. Yeah. Okay? Nobody burns forever. Nobody suffers in hell for all eternity. That's completely alien to Torah thought. Yeah. To Judaism. So the worst of the worst people go to Gehenna for 12 months. And those are only the worst people who merit to go to Gehenna, because that's a place of cleansing. Yeah. Right? So, and what are you being cleansed for? Because you're gonna get out of there, right? So it's more like a washing machine rather than a place to be tortured, and it's kind of like a rehab clinic. Yeah. It's different ways to look at it.
Yeah.
It's not meant to.
Yeah.
It's not meant to, to be sadistic. It's there. It's rehab. Okay, physical therapy, spiritual therapy, and sometimes it's painful.
Yeah.
Okay, but this idea of suffering for all eternity is completely alien to Judaism and to Torah. So, okay, so now let's see. Okay, so the Torah discusses the second day. I'm just gonna skim a little bit here. So the second day is so much related. The second day is so much related to division, right? Mm-hmm. That in the second day of creation, God didn't use the words and it is good, which appear in all the other days of creation. Okay, so hell is the opposite of unity. Yeah. Meaning, when you have unity, you're not in hell. Yeah. When there's division, that's hell. That's what he's trying to say. Yeah. Inwardly, it is a state that arises from not living in the complete reality of unification with our source. Yeah. It's the feeling of being separate. That's hell. Mm-hmm. Consequently, this is a name for breaking the klippa of separation, ripping it open to reveal that even Satan is a divine force, because there's nothing that isn't a divine force. And that's the biggest, that's the hardest thing that probably any created being can deal with, is the fact that even, Satan, right, is not something separate from God. Because remember, what is the absolute, bottom line of reality? Ein od milvado.
Yeah.
Right. So that's it's a revolutionary thought.
Yeah.
But it's part of reality. So yeah. So the name of like we said before, Satan is the name of a job. It's a job description. It's a title. But so the actual name of the angel the angel who does this job has his own name, and we just say we're not going to say it. We're going to say Samach Mem. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So another name, which is okay. So and this name Samach Mem, right? It's spelled with the closed letters Samach and Mem. Both of them are closed letters.
Yeah. That idea I've heard that before. That idea.
Yeah. Okay. So it's indicating that in this is a closed off or a cut off state, right? Yeah. So divine energy cannot reveal itself. Yeah. When these closed letters are open, their divine root is exposed, and we understand that Samach Mem is actually El.
Yeah. Just
like everything else, right? Which is God and the attribute of Chesed.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So now Monday is the beginning of many people's work week. Even when people work on Sunday, that day is still very much connected with the modality of Shabbat. So, but come Monday, we must once again interact with a world of duality, concealment, and a satanic consciousness. Which is basically these ideas of me, not you, this, not that, right? So where time and space seem separate and our lives are compartmentalized by Palm. Well, you can tell when this was written. He wrote Palm Pilots and appointments. Remember Palm Pilots? Was that before Blackberries or after?
It's probably about the same time. Let's see, Palm Pilots. 1997. You're talking about? Yeah, this is like before BlackBerry. Yeah.
All right. So I never had one. Okay, so due to the powerful forces of separation, on Monday, we need to meditate on opening our blockages. Instead of feeling stuck, closed, or shut out, we can break the strength of the klippa of duality and remain connected. Now remember, the acronym for this line of the prayer, the second line of the prayer, is kara satan, which means to tear apart the Satan.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So Kavana, so the Kavana is like this. Monday, think about Gevura, which is strength. It's related to concealment and separation. The consciousness that we need to achieve is to break and destroy all the Satan, all the opponents, all the disconnections and separations, and try to remain connected. And then the energy of the day is strength. Okay, now we go to day 3, which is Tuesday. Okay, and the acronym. This is the third line of the prayer, and the acronym is Negdi Kash. Okay? So this word Negdi means across from me or in front of me. You know, like Keneged, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then Kuf stands for Kavod. Okay, indicating glory. Okay, I'm gonna have to look that one up. I'm not sure why he said that, but okay. And actually, hold on, let me see. 1 second. Negti Kav. Okay. Negti. Oh no, it's good because I think it was a misprint. So it's the letter Kaf. So Kaf is, you spell kavod with a Kaf, not with a kuf. Anyway, so kavod, it means glory or honor. Okay, and then the letter shin at the end, because it's negdi kash, right? This ends with the shin sound, so it stands for Shemayim, which is heaven, and it indicates the Shekhinah, right? Which is the immediate or the imminent presence of God within the world. The glory of Hashem that is before me, that's before us.
Yeah.
The Shekhinah is how God intends to interact with the world. That's the form in which he interacts with the world, okay? And it's a feminine presence, by the way. Okay, the third day, Tuesday, corresponds to the Shekhinah, residing in the Malchut of the third pillar, which is the middle column of the Tree of Life, diagram, the 10 Sefirot, right?
Yeah.
So there's a middle column. There's 3 columns in this diagram, right? The right, the middle, and the left. And you have Keter, Ta'at, Tiferet, and Malchut all the way on the bottom. All of those make up the central column, okay? The middle column. Okay, so I'll say it again. So Tuesday corresponds to the Shekhinah residing in the Malchut of the third pillar, the middle column which represents balance and harmony. In the middle column is the trunk of the tree. Okay, Malchut is its life. It's the life-giving fruit. Sorry. On the third day of creation, the Torah tells us that the earth gives over her fruit. Yeah. Right, the physical fruit of creation. Just as Malchut, the kingdom, is the manifestation and result of all the higher branches of Sefirot that flow into her and animate it. Yeah. So this is the idea of Malchut, the Shekhinah, the Mother Earth, giving offspring life. Okay, so this whole idea of Mother Earth actually is connected to Shekhinah. Tuesday represents routine. Same as Monday, just another day.
Yeah.
It is a double day. Thus, in the Torah, the word tov, good, repeats itself twice on this day.
Yeah.
Our Tuesday's meditation is to realize the majesty and glory in our actions, in nature, in the whole. Okay, in the routine of life, and how the entire world is filled with Hashem's glory, even that which seems trivial. Now, because today is Tuesday, I wanted to read the meditations up till today, and I was wondering if it's okay with you, Greg.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't read all of them today, but we can kind of, go through the rest of the week, maybe kind of finishing off this, discussing these kavanot, per day, right? We can extend episode 42 into 5 parts.
Yeah.
Okay, so that doesn't mean I want to end right now. I just want to.
Yeah, for sure. So
I just want to see if I'm going to move past this. I want to see if there's. No, that's the end of the post. Okay, so it's just it ends with all of these things. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, before we move on, I just wanted to read you the table of contents of a book that I have.
Okay.
Which is actually it was a pretty rare book written by Bart Tzadok.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Mechalchin Bego Nora, which is Walking in the Fire.
Interesting.
Classical Torah, Kabbalistic meditations, practices, and prayers by Rabbi Ariel Bar Tzadok. So I'm going to read you the table of contents, and you'll see.
Can I ask you a quick question about? Was there any like rabbi or rabbis who openly, like, I don't want to say spoke against him, against Bar Tzadok, but kind of wrote him off? Let's say.
I was honestly expecting to hear a lot of that when I was first I first heard about him and I started researching. Yeah. I've only heard, to my amazement, I've only heard respect at his level of knowledge. I've never heard a single bad word.
I mean, I think probably the worst thing you'd probably hear about him based on what you're saying is probably like, well, I'm just not into that stuff. They would say, right? They wouldn't say like he's whatever, nothing. Like,
no, I didn't even hear that.
Really?
I've only heard 3. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm listening.
I've only heard 3. I've only ever spoken about him with 3 people.
Okay.
My brother. Okay. Who said, yeah, I know, I heard he knows everything, but whatever, right? He's not. He didn't. That's all he said. Actually, he didn't say anything else.
That's funny.
And then what you told me about Rabbi Kessin, he's like, oh yeah,
Rabbi Kessin, I haven't, because he hadn't spoken to him in a while. They used to speak, like he used to talk to him before.
Right, and then the other one I heard is Rabbi Yaakov Cohen in Houston, Texas. So he has videos on YouTube. He's also extremely knowledgeable Kabbalist, and I highly recommend looking at his lectures online. Rabbi Yaakov Cohen, he's a funny guy too. And so he sees him very highly. I haven't heard anything.
Can you give me 1 second, man? I'm just in the 1 second. Yeah. I'm just in the checking on that. I'm listening. Hello? Still there?
Should I continue?
Continue.
Okay, so here's the table of contents. Okay, so let's see.
Sorry, I just had to go down to the laundry room.
That's all right. So stop, listen, and learn. The way of Torah, the flow of life.
I feel like if anything, maybe Bar Tzadok's stuff is more like people. The mainstream rabbis it's not. Yeah, they have nothing bad to say. They probably just kind of like are not up on him. Let's put it that way. It's almost like underground house music. He's like the underground house music of rabbis, as it were. That's what I feel like.
That's how the Kabbalists, kind of been. By the way, Dov Pinson, no less a Kabbalist. Just at least as knowledgeable. I would assume significantly more because he also delves deeply into Chassidut. And Dov Pinson is his knowledge of Kabbalah is universal. It's not he doesn't just stick to Chabad rabbis.
Yeah.
Like, he talks about the Vilna Gaon. He brings everybody's opinion. So he's very.
Can I ask you a controversial question? I hope you don't mind. And and if you want to tell me I don't want to answer it, or don't even want to talk about it, we don't have to.
Okay.
What do you think of when he went to see the Pope? What was that all about? What was the intention there?
I have no idea. Okay. But I don't see a problem with it.
No, I'm not saying I have an opinion one way or the other. I'm just curious. I'm just asking. I don't know. I don't even know what to make of it. Myself.
There's no shortage. Well, actually, I think there was a story about Rabbi Abulafia, who in the 1200s he traveled to see the Pope. He went to the Vatican. Yeah. The Pope passed away before he was able to get in to speak to him.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
I don't know if... I'm not saying that's, he was trying to replay that. That's not what I'm saying. I just think that he wanted... I think he wanted... I think that Moshe Idel.
Moshe Idel. Who's that?
Professor Moshe.
I heard the
Idel.
name. What is his thing?
He's like the he's a famous Kabbalist.
Okay.
He's an expert in Abulafian Abulafian tradition, but he's he's a secular person. Like, he doesn't seem like he's a religious guy, but he's an expert in everything that Abulafia ever wrote, and he's had access to documents that no one else has seen, because he went to the Vatican and they have some Abulafia stuff that they don't want to give. They don't want to give us. They don't want to give it back.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
It's a little bit ridiculous, right? So basically, it could be something like that. I think he wanted to perhaps go to the Vatican and to look at some unpublished manuscripts.
I'm just curious, like, from where did the Catholic Church? I mean, I guess in the fallouts of all these persecutions, they just took them, and then they just, like, I just don't understand why there can't be like some formal discussion, whether by Bibi or whomever, just to get these things back.
Because Bibi doesn't want to change the status quo.
Or not Bibi, anybody, whomever.
No, they all want to. Anybody who's in a position to ask doesn't want the status quo to change. But can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is it possible that we can continue in 10 minutes?
Please, sure. Not a problem.
Okay. I'm serious. I'll keep that to the dot.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Cool.
You know,
So we were talking about this whole.
You know what Biden looks like?
The what?
Biden.
What does he look like?
Schmeiden.
No.
He looks like a mix of Lloyd Bridges playing President Bennett in Hot Shots Part 2. If you mix them together with the bad guy from Poltergeist, Reverend, his name was like Reverend. Hold on a second.
You also forgot. Walter the puppet of the guy who He.
Yeah, right.
The guy. What's his name? No. Who's the puppeteer, comedian?
Oh, Jim Henson.
Yeah, not Jim Henson. No, the guy who does the Ahmed the Dead Terrorist.
Oh, Jeff Dunham.
Jeff Dunham, yeah. So it's one of his puppets is Walter. That's Biden.
Hang on. Reverend Kane.
Oh my God, I haven't seen that movie in a very long time.
Look up Reverend Kane, dude, and tell me you don't see Biden.
Let's see. Reverend like Kane. Oh my God,
yeah.
Dear Lord. That's some scary stuff right there. Oh my God. Who played him? Who's the actor?
The actor is...
Dear Lord. Julian Beck. Interesting. Julian Beck? Who's Julian Beck?
I don't know.
American director, poet, and painter. He played... the malevolent preacher in 86 movie Poltergeist 2.
No. Julian Beck was he was from the first movie.
Dude, Poltergeist 2, the other side, the Sitra Achra. Huh.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, but hold on. Julian Beck, there's two different Reverend Kanes. The guy from the first movie, the guy from the second movie. The second movie was Nathan Davis. That's the creepy guy that we just looked at.
I mean, I looked at Julian Kane. He looked like Biden too. Hold on, Nathan Davis?
I mean, they got an actor, two actors that kind of have some resemblance.
Well, Nathan Davis, Poltergeist. Oh my God, dear Lord. I think that the other guy looks more like... Actually, no, this guy doesn't... It's Poltergeist 3. Wait, let's see. Poltergeist 1.
Poltergeist 3? What?
There was Poltergeist 3, 1982. Poltergeist 1. Okay, so... you had the movie top cast: Freeling, Craig T. Nelson, Dana Freeling, Michael McMahon, doesn't look like there's any. I think it was Poltergeist 2 because it doesn't look like there's any. In Poltergeist 1, doesn't look like there's any. Poltergeist 2 and 3, there's guys that play a priest.
Yeah.
But the 1, there is no. Doesn't look like there is any character like that.
No, there is.
Really? Hold on. Hold on. One second. Cast. Craig T. Nelson, Joe Beth Williams. Wheeling Benton, Mrs. Tuthill, Marty, Ryan, Tangina, Mr. Teague, Pugsley, Louis Perriman, Jeff Shaw, neighbor, husband, pool worker. Yeah, now you're getting into. That's it. There is no priest in the first one. In the second one, there is for sure one. Poltergeist 2, The Other Side, the Sitra Achra. There you go. And you have then you have here 1986. You have let's see who played in that one. Joe Beth Williams, Craig T. Nelson, same, the guy from Coach.
I'm sorry. Julian Beck was the guy from the second movie.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Kane. Yeah, there you go. Kane. Julian Beck. This is the guy. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Looks normal. In the movies, they made him look crazy.
Yes. I mean, he's probably a good actor. Huh.
He was also in this movie where he was almost as creepy, but he wasn't the bad guy. Mm. It's also an 80s flick, kind of a horror sci-fi thing, where the electricity goes nuts, and apparently the electricity itself is conscious, and it was trying to kill. Like it was possessed.
9.5 weeks? No? Dinner guest? No.
No.
Let's see what else. Camera 3? No. Candy.
No.
Some movie called Candy. He played. You're saying he played it in another movie?
He probably played it in a series of movies, but let me see if I could find it. He was in 9.5 weeks, really?
The Cotton Club, okay. Saul Weinstein. Oh, it's probably about the
Narcissus.
He played in a Miami Vice episode. And then there's another movie. You talking about a series?
No, this is a movie. Maybe I'm getting the wrong guy.
Maybe I'm the wrong guy.
Hold on. Horror movie. About electricity.
Huh.
I'm doing.
Are you talking about like it's like a dinner theater kind of deal, and electricity goes out every so often?
No. The electricity itself is trying to kill people. Mm-hmm. Pulse. Pulse, 1988.
Pulse? Oh my god.
Yeah.
1 second. Let's see. Pulse. There's a 2006 film called Pulse.
No.
1988. 1988. And who was the 1 second. Oh my god. Yeah, here you go. Pulse. Joey Lawrence.
Yeah.
Whoa. He's probably like, every time he saw it, it's like, whoa. No.
That's where he got it from. He's like, whoa.
Cliff DeYoung, Roxanne Hart, Joey Lawrence, David. Matthew Lawrence, his brother. Charles Tyner, Old Man. Is this the guy?
That's the one.
Charles Tyner.
That has to be it. Does he look like? He looks like.
Yeah, he looks like a younger version of this Beck guy. And he actually passed away in 2017. He was 92 years old.
Charles Tyner, Tin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was creepy.
Interesting. So what is this movie about? A visiting son tries to warn his father and stepmother that they are being menaced by a living and intelligent pulse of electricity that moves from house to house and terrorizes the residents therein.
Right, he was trying to warn everybody. He's like, yeah, that's the guy. Yeah, Charles Tyner. Yeah. I don't know why. In my memory, it was the same as Reverend Kane, but like you could see why, right? Like,
whoa,
Old Man Holger. Yeah.
Paul Golding, director and writer. Who was Paul Golding?
Sounds familiar.
He directed. Let's see. He directed only 2 movies: Herbie and Pulse. Oh, he wrote about a few things. Beat Street, 1984. The Magical World of Disney, 1980, 1 episode. The Passover Plot, whatever the heck that is. The Emperor, documentary short. About who? Disc jockey Emperor Bob Hudson. Interesting. Like random things these guys write. Editor.
He was in westerns too.
Who? This
This
guy?
guy, Charles. Oh no, you're talking about the director.
The writer. Yeah, the writer. No. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about this actor.
Yeah.
What was he? Else was he in? Just a bunch of westerns. He looks like he's like a kind of could be like a cowboy style.
This guy, he looks like he has had a very long career.
Charles Steiner.
Probably going back to the 50s.
Looks like he started in the 51, 59, and then he had like most of his stuff is like 60, 61. Mostly got going. Interesting. Cool Hand
He's
Luke.
that guy. He's like one of those character actors.
He played in Cool Hand Luke. Boss Higgins.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly. Oh man, I actually remember that.
The Moonshine War. He played in what else? He played in. Yeah, all these westerns. Like mamish, like a bunch of these western. Kung Fu. He played in Larrabee. Huh.
Kung Fu, the
original Kung Fu in 1973.
Yeah. Right.
He played in. He played in the Waltons.
You know that was Bruce Lee's idea. He thought he was going to star in it.
What?
And they just got this up.
That sucks. And then he
wrote
died.
The show.
And then he died.
No.
I didn't know that.
They went with another guy because
that's whack.
He was they weren't ready for that much Asian at that time.
It's like the founding fathers. It was things that were too Jewy. Not that they hated anybody. It was just too much of Meh. It's funny.
Okay, so can I read you the table of contents?
Yeah, please do that.
By the way, was the answer about Rev Pinson?
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay, so here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Section 1, knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
Sefer Devekut, the book of attachment to God, which is important because that's actually one of the commandments. To was it medabek, to cleave to God. So what does that mean, right? That means these meditations.
Mm-hmm.
So the book of attachment to God, part 1, the concept and the halacha, the context, the beginning, mental isolation. Chapter 2, hitbonenut, the acquisition of mental isolation. Chapter 3, music as the tool of hitbonenut.
Mm-hmm.
And he mentioned in his videos that one of his main tools is Highway Star.
Yeah.
By Deep Purple.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I can relate to that song too. Okay. So then chapter 4, using music to cultivate subjective perception.
Yeah.
Chapter 5, cleansing the mind from the dangers of the klipot. Chapter 6, the holy name, the mitzvot, and the cleansing of the mind. Chapter 7, review, the power of Torah, and passing through the storm. Remember that, passing through the storm, right? Chapter 8, using psalms and prayers. Chapter 9, Reshei Tevot, and cleansing the mind. Okay? Now, there's another section here. The usage of holy names. Meditation instructions. And then the path of the prophet. Okay? The power of passion. It's very interesting. Actually, can I read that quickly? Because it's only like 2 pages.
Yeah.
This is actually, I think, important. I've heard these ideas before, but he brought an example here that made an impression on me, at least. Okay, so let's see the power.
Dude, your phone is kind of like your
learn from. Okay, how about now?
Oh, now it's better.
Okay, chapter 6, the power of passion. Learn from the story that was written by Rabbi Yitzhak of Akko. I think he lived about 800 years ago. Famous Kabbalist from Akko, but I'm gonna double check that. One day, not any day in particular, the daughter of the king went out of the palace to go to the bathhouse. A simpleton who was a peasant observed her. He was greatly aroused by her beauty. He said, quote, "I should be so lucky as to have you under my control so that I can do to you what is good in my eyes," unquote. The princess answered him and said, quote, "In the graveyard this will be, but not here," unquote. When the man heard this, he greatly rejoiced, for he thought that the princess was directing him to go to the graveyard and wait there. For she would, aren't we dumb? For she would come to him there so that he could have his way with her. Now, the princess, however, meant no such thing. She intended to say that only in the grave do the great and small attain equal stature. Meaning, like, he's a simpleton and a peasant, so she would never be able to be with him because of their statures are far apart, not in the grave. Meaning, in the next world, there is no, okay. So she intended to say that only in the grave do the great and small attain equal stature, as do the young and the old, the honored and the humbled. Okay. Now, in the grave, there are the great together with the small equal. However, this is not the case here in this world, for one should not think that the daughter of the king would allow a commoner to approach her. Nevertheless, the man rose up and went to the cemetery, and there he waited. All of the thoughts of his mind were focused upon the princess. He would continually visualize her image, and from the intensity of his desire for her, he completely separated his thoughts from any sensorial input. His entire mind focused upon the image of the princess and how beautiful she was. So day and night, he continuously dwelled in the cemetery. He ate and drank there, and there did he sleep. He said to himself that if she does not come today, she would come tomorrow. Thus did the man do for a very long time. Now, as a result of the intensity of his separation from every other stimulation and the continuous bond of his thoughts to one thing, with complete mental isolation and passion, his soul actually separated from being affected by sensorial reality, and he bonded with the realm of the mind to the point where he had no connection with anything physical, including the princess, even the physical princess. Like, basically what that means is he reached such a level that the physical princess would not measure up to what was happening in his mind. Right? So he became bonded directly. So the point is that he became bonded directly with God to the point that he separated from the entire physical world, and his passion was directed towards divine concepts. Okay, now, the man ended up becoming a complete servant, a holy man of God. His prayers were always heard, and his blessings always bore fruit for those who would pass by him. All who passed by, businessmen and the like, would go to see him and receive his blessing. The man's name eventually became famous. Now, so what's interesting is that he had realized that beauty that he was so taken aback from belonged entirely to God. Meaning God, he was the origin of it. Right? So, and he became so focused on it that it became a pathway to reach the understanding that God is the origin of everything beautiful that he loves. Not just God is the origin of everything, but people connect by the things that they like, that they love, and they're grateful to God for it, and they realize that God had created this beauty. Like, forget about appreciating it. Can you imagine creating it? How involved in it are you to create that beauty? So if we think about it, there's a very big disconnect between how people think about things that they like, right, and God.
Yeah, of course.
Like, and this is a great example because, like, think about people, like, guys love to look at beautiful women, right? Curvaceous women, all these tots. What do they call them? Did I say it right?
Thoughts.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sorry.
It just means that hoe over there.
Yeah, whatever. I'm just saying that, like, like, even with those exaggerated features, right?
Yeah.
Like, God did that.
Yeah.
It didn't sound like, so God actually made that. So can it be bad? No.
Intrinsically, yeah.
Right?
It cannot, yeah.
So it's just, it's not meant to be flaunted for the whole world to see.
It's the method, the intention, the
Right,
style.
but I think that the form itself gets, people tend to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
Like, don't throw that baby out, please. You know what I mean? Like,
Funny.
There's like no point to live without that baby.
It's hilarious, bro.
So, no, I'm just saying. So,
I hear.
So, no, it's funny how like the Sitra Achra puts a klippa on the most powerful tools that we have.
Well, it's a bunch of Puritans. That's why they can't. It's either all for them. It's either it's either all or nothing. They can't. The
Sitra Achra wants you to be a Puritan when you're not supposed to be a Puritan, and it wants you to be a heat in the wrong time when you're not supposed to be a Puritan.
Yeah.
Okay, it's always the exact opposite of how we're intended to do things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let me just finish this. Okay. So this pauper, this peasant, right? This fool, he actually had attained a very high level and became famous.
Yeah.
So Rabbi Yitzchak of Akko wrote there regarding the story of separation that one who has never had passion towards a woman is similar to a donkey and less than one at that. I'll say that again.
Yeah.
Rabbi Yitzchak of Akko wrote, he wrote there regarding the story of separation, that one who has never had passion towards a woman is similar to a donkey and less than that, even less than a donkey. So the reason for this is that from that which we sense that one comes to recognize how to perform service for the divine. Okay. Yeah. Now, with this, meaning that passion, that intensity that he felt when he saw the form of the princess, that was the first time he ever felt that level of, this like a madness, basically. It's kind of like a divine. So that's actually how we're supposed to serve God. Now, that's unthinkable to me and to many other people. Like, how do you get that into it? You know what I mean? It's weird. But this story gives you a hint as to why some people have achieved that level, because they realize that the passions that they have a proclivity for come from God. And then when they think about that and they begin to associate that beauty with its origin rather than where it's resting. Okay, so from this story, one will learn that one who has such a... Oh, I'm sorry, I missed something. 1 second. So the reason for this, meaning like if someone who's never... Let me start again. My bad. Rabbi Yitzchak of Akko wrote there regarding the story of separation that one who had never had passion towards a woman is similar to a donkey and less than one at that. The reason for this is that from which we sense that one comes to recognize how to perform service for the divine. With this will you understand the meaning of the word chafetz, desire. Okay? So, like the chafetz hayim.
Yes.
Desire life, right?
Desire
From
life.
this story, will one learn that the one who has such tremendous passion for the Torah, so that every day and night he thinks of nothing else of the things of this world, but only of Torah, such a one's soul will rise to a very high, wondrous level. Such a one will have no need of mortification or fasts. For bonding, dveikut, depends only on one's passion and love of Torah until one bonds with her. The Torah is so with her, which is, now when we say the Torah, we're talking about the divine presence, the Shekhinah, with this passion that we were describing here. So that's from the book called Sefer Reshit Chachma, Sha'ar Ha'ahava, the Gate of Love, chapter 4, sentences 31 through 32, written by Rabbi Eliyahu Davidas.
Davidas, yeah. Did you ever read the book Light of Ephraim, speaking of which?
No, I never.
You should read this book. You know what it's about?
I do not.
1 second. Light of... Hold on a second.
By the way, can I mention something about what we just read?
Yes.
So in all of his videos, and he says that all these meditative techniques, you could learn them from here to tomorrow. You could memorize them. You could go through all the motions. Nothing will happen until your libido gets into. That is the energy which ignites and set. That's what lifts you up.
Yeah.
Without that, forget it.
1 second. Hold on. I thought this Vidas guy, Vidas, was a fictional, semi-fictional character, but he apparently is a real person, and he is mentioned in the book.
Remember Vidas? Of course he is.
Yeah. So listen, Vidas, Eliyahu. 1 second. Okay. 1 second. Come on. What is this nonsense? Come on, man. 1 second. Kitzer, this book, it's a fictional book about a married guy, Balshuva guy, and he basically the story goes like this. Come on, man. I want the plot more. I don't want the whole plot, obviously, but I want. There's a guy named Yosef, and hold on. I believe.
Is that the one where he became the viceroy of Egypt?
No. It's a guy. Yeah. No. It's a guy.
Pissed off his brothers?
No. It's a guy, and he goes to the kotel. Basically, he has this issue with, he, despite being married with. Here we go. Okay. He has an issue. He's married, but he has an issue with not doing what. And
Gotcha.
and one day he just goes to the kotel to daven, and he runs into this mikubal. And they start talking, and the Mekubal is like, he tells him the issue, and the Mekubal is like, listen, come for Shabbos. I live in Tzfat. Come to my house for Shabbos in Tzfat. So him and his wife.
By issue, are we talking about massage parlors?
Not massage, just
vein, right?
doing stuff on his own, but despite the fact that he's married.
Gotcha.
Stam,
Gotcha.
The usual. And it's not so usual, but the usual. What
I
I'm
have
saying.
no idea what you mean.
Yeah, we have whatever. Sinner,
Soulage.
Richard.
Richard.
That's
a pretty girl over there. You think she dates one of the Yankees?
Exactly. What's your favorite? What's his face?
What's your favorite
Little Rascal.
Mine's Alfalfa.
What's yours? Probably Spanky.
Yours Spanky. Come on. Let's get
Anyway, so okay. So this guy has an issue, whatever. So they go to the Mekubal's house for Shabbos, and I mean the whole.
Guy in little.
Okay, and anyway, so the entire the entire time they are learning. He's teaching him about the Kabbalistic things, about this whole issue, and all the pitfalls and
right?
Everything you ever heard of, we ever heard of. He's teaching him. And all the deeper sources and all that, and then he talks about Eliyahu Davidas wrote about something specifically. I forgot what exactly, but he's mentioned in that book, in this novel, let's say. And and then it's just basically it's a whole thing. It's like a whole journey of this book talks about like this guy basically. So it gets into like Ephraim and Yosef is the guy. Why is he called Tzaddik? And the whole thing of like Rahel. And that's he's Rahel's son, and how Rahel is crying for her children, and essentially he also relates it to why is Yosef's kever one of the most hot? It is the most hotly contested physical spot in Israel. You're talking about like fire bombs, and you need like a whole like bulletproof bus just to get there, and so he connects it to. Our cousins are bound to us through the Brit, right?
Yeah.
So because we're breaking this, we have an issue with this as a nation, our men, he links it to all of, the terror attacks and all of the threats from Iran and Gaza and all the anti-Semitism, all these things that they all go back to
By the way, not just our men,
Yeah.
But all men.
All men on
except
Earth.
We're not allowed to be like all men.
Yes, correct. So
even all men aren't allowed to be like all men.
Correct. So this is all linked. All these things are linked to this one issue that we have to fix. And obviously it's like Yosef and the whole thing with that. Whatever gets into it, and he connects it to Ephraim, which is one of Yosef's sons. I don't remember the exact thing, but then it gets into that. So it's interesting. The last time I heard that name, Davidas, is in that book.
Okay, gotcha.
Interesting that you mentioned it. Yeah.
Just to reiterate.
Yes.
The whole point of reading that story was to show that is the key to the success of every meditative technique. If you want to make aliyah, if you want to go and do an ascent to the higher worlds, that's the rocket fuel that sets off the tic tac. Okay, if you want to fly up there, its passion is the fuel of tic tacs, not gasoline. Okay, so.
By the way, real quick, Project Shmeritas is going to come out with a video, I guess, today. Apparently, there are Department of Shmustis documents obtained by Shmudishal Watch organization confirm the existence of communications between Shmef BI and Schmeiser about Project Veritas.
Shmeritas.
Yeah. So basically, you have a war internally, Shmef BI versus DOJ. And then think people within SHMFBI on one side and people within a DOJ on one side. On the other, they're both two people on both sides in each agency, warring with each other. It's just it's insane. Not surprising, but it's really That's what we have here. That's what we got.
Yeah.
And that's why Mr. Mousy walks the earth. Still.
Speaking of Mr. Mousy, meaning just things that make me infuriate me to the point of madness, which is why on a koach is because that only belongs to people who don't have anger. So obviously, I don't deserve it. But the person who murdered that young girl in L.A.
Murdered a young girl in L.A. Who? Wait, who are you talking about?
There is a murder, some sack of shit, animal, beast, demon.
Okay.
Came in. There was a beautiful young girl working in a furniture store, and this guy just came in and just she was working there by herself. Just came in and stabbed her.
I didn't hear this. Wow, that's crazy.
Brianna Kupfer.
Let me see.
Я хочу привязать его голову.
Yeah. Oh wow.
В машине.
UCLA grad student. Wow. What was the reason? It was just stomp? Like he just came in and just stomp? Like, did it?
The reason is because of the people that they elected. That's the reason. Okay.
Oh
anyway.
Crazy. 24-year-old furniture store. What's she, like a worker, manager? Crazy.
USA.
Whatever.
Okay. All right.
Anyway.
So I'd like to get back to the table of contents here. Okay?
Yeah.
So now here's really what I wanted to get to.
Yeah.
It's actually a book called The Scientific Nature of Spiritual Reality.
Yeah.
Introduction. The difference between physical and spiritual.
Yeah.
Creation. Physics meets Torah. Then it talks about angels, it talks about demons, and then Ein Sof, the science of creation, transformational meditation. That means from Sefer Yetzirah, how to actually transform matter.
Yeah.
It's not about some kind of like spiritual, or psychological awakening of character. We're talking about affecting the physical world. Okay?
Yeah.
The programming language. Then it's what's in a name, and then 21st century science, Sefer Yetzirah, creation technology through thought and sound.
Yeah.
Okay. Interested?
Yes, please.
So let me just read the first section. It's like about 5 pages. We don't have to go through the whole thing. Let me know.
Yeah.
Let me know how you feel.
Yeah, please. Let's see.
Okay. Scientific nature of spiritual reality. Now, introduction. The difference between physical and spiritual. Corporeality is the realm discernible to our physical senses. Yet, we must ask, by what criteria do we define the limit of our physical senses? For example, TV and radio waves are not visible to the human eye. I cannot directly see them or hear them. Does this make them non-corporeal? Question. If so, do they fall into the realm of what religiously we will call the spiritual realms? Is this the domain of the angels? I certainly hope that we will never come to confuse God's messengers with TV or radio waves. Okay, so it would seem that he doesn't think that. Okay? Now, we recognize TV and radio waves as corporeal elements because we have a developed technology that can measure, receive, and manifest them. Right? Therefore, our definition of corporeality is defined as all things perceived by our physical senses and includes all things that can be perceived by our measuring and monitoring devices. Technology has simply expanded the boundaries of human physical observation. Okay? Now, corporeality can now be defined as that which can be sensed or perceived by human physical senses, complemented by the use of their instruments and technology. Where then do we draw the line to begin the definition of non-corporeality? Right? What are the spiritual realms? Science today can peer into the smallest of subatomic particles to contemplate the elemental forms of matter. It can also look out into space and almost see the beginning of creation. Soon technology will expand, and we will eventually see everything in the realms of time and space. Sooner or later, a grand unified theory for the universe will be postulated, tested, and eventually accepted. The secrets of space-time will then be explained. The study of physics will then be forced to enter into those domains, which today we call the non-corporeal. I'll say that again. The secrets of space-time will then be explained, and then the study of physics will then be forced to enter into those domains, which today we call the non-corporeal. In the not-too-distant future, scientists will include these realms into their agendas of study. Yet, just what are these non-corporeal realms? And this is Bartzalder driving me crazy, okay? You know, he's asked that question several times, and you keep thinking as soon as he asks the question, you're going to start getting, you know, at least some semblance of an answer, but let's see. So, what, if anything, ever happened to the non-corporeal universe spoken of in such detail by all the world's religions? After all, grand unified theories will not produce for us angels. They will not take us to heaven or even introduce us to God. All of these are said to exist in a realm outside of space-time known as what we call heaven. Okay? So where is this place? Is this the place souls go to after death? If so, then what can science teach us about death, about the existence, nature, and makeup of a soul? Right? Physics indeed does a good job to explain what happens to us here in the world of space-time, yet unless you totally reject all forms of religion and spirituality, you are left with the questions, what is a soul and where does it come from? Okay. Now, I do not believe that even the most accomplished physicists would ever dare to scientifically postulate on these matters. It is much easier to say that these questions belong to another realm of scientific investigation, or best left out of science altogether, left for the religious and philosopher to debate. After all, science studies discernible reality. Has anyone ever been able to scientifically or otherwise observe or measure a soul, an angel, or some place that we would call heaven? No, these areas are in the realms of the non-corporeal and thus outside the realm of science, at least a science limited by its present understanding of space-time. Okay. Now we are back to the previous question. Yes, we are. Where is, or better to ask, what is a non-corporeal spiritual state of being? Okay. Now, the holy rabbis of the Kabbalah the esoteric school of Torah, teach that the non-corporeal world is an invisible realm that surrounds us on all sides. Yet, even these ancient masters of mysticism would agree that such things as TV or radio waves, although invisible to our physical eye, are nonetheless not of the non-corporeal realms of which they speak. The question is, how does he know? So that's what I'm saying. Like, he's making that assumption.
Yeah.
Thousands of years before, back to the text, thousands of years before modern scientists, Kabbalists spoke about apparently invisible things, which could be, quote, seen through specific measures, thus making them appear corporeal. These holy rabbis spoke of the non-corporeal worlds as a place of divine light, a place of thought and mind. Okay? Angels are understood to simply be bodiless thought forms that somehow, according to their own laws of physics, influence the corporeal realm beneath them. Indeed, angels are often represented as having bodies of light. Okay? Kabbalistically speaking, the spiritual, non-corporeal realm is a realm of light and thought. It is, quote-unquote, above our corporeal physical world. Now, we define our corporeal world as that which is detectable in space-time, yet science already has postulated the existence of other realms. In these realms, the laws of physics, as we know and understand them today, break down. The barrier separating these realms is the speed of light. Our corporeal world is defined as being limited to those things that manifest mass and that vibrate at a speed slower than the speed of light. So this is applicable to everything from subatomic particles to entire galaxies in space. According to its speed is its definition. Anything vibrating slower than light is corporeal and thus included within the boundaries of space-time. This means that anything moving faster than the speed of light is non-corporeal. Many modern physicists have postulated the existence of a faster-than-light particle, known as a tachyon. If indeed this and other faster-than-light particles do exist, then they probably form a universe in their own place and according to their own properties of physics, similar to the way protons, neutrons, and electrons in our universe form us. Okay, so when we think of protons, neutrons, and electrons, we visualize them as being little round marbles or balls. This image is how subatomic particles are portrayed in science books and taught in schools. Yet the pioneer theory in physics today is that these subatomic particles are not these little dots of matter, but rather a group of vibrating strings. Indeed, all subatomic matter is said to be merely varying degrees of resonance vibrating on these subnuclear strings. The whole universe then is founded upon sound. Matter is nothing more than the symphony of space-time. That's why in Psalms, King David calls God the conductor. However, there is one unique principle about matter. The vibrating strings all vibrate slower than the speed of light. It is thus possible that there is a universe invisible to us, made up of particles, which are, again, sound. Particles are sound resonance upon strings, right? That modulate faster than light. So modern science is a long way from knowing whether there is a sentient hyperlight universe. Yet, who knows what is being discovered right now in experimental laboratories around the world. Indeed, modern theoretical physicists are already talking about invisible dark matter, 10-dimensional space-time, the realities of time travel and parallel universes. This book was written 30 years ago, by the way. With the advances in modern physics, the realms of the invisible are not longer the domains of religion or science fiction. The realm of the invisible is now science fact. Now, what is the invisible? What is this invisible faster than light realm? what exists in it? Is there life there as we know or understand life? The chances are no. Life as we defined it here on Earth cannot exist there, for there is a realm which the laws of our familiar four-dimensional space-time do not exist. There is a realm of other dimensions, other laws of physics. Okay, we can therefore conclude that anything in that realm will be very different, if not completely different, from anything in our four-dimensional space-time realms. Now, difference, however, is defined by a lack of common denominators.
Yeah.
If I have nothing in common with another, then we are completely different.
Yeah.
But we cannot say for sure that we have no commonality with whatever might exist in a faster-than-light hyperspace. Indeed, there are aspects of the human condition that clearly exist, yet have no relative dimension in either space or time. Human emotions, right?
Yeah.
And thoughts. Thoughts are two such examples. We all know that feelings and thoughts exist, yet neither of these can be subject to mathematical analysis or a theory of their operations presented. Now, I want to just stop from the text for a second. So Professor Gerald Schroeder talks about this really often. He says that there's no place in your body, in your brain, where you are experiencing the sensory information that your body is receiving.
Interesting.
There's no like little you sitting somewhere in your body watching a screen experiencing this.
Yeah.
There is a little you sitting somewhere experiencing this, and it's not in your body.
Yeah.
Meaning you think you're in your body right now, but you're actually not.
Yeah.
Your body is an antenna receiving signals and transmitting it to you remotely.
Yeah.
Where are you? Good question. Where are you actually?
You know, it's interesting. You know how I know that besides the fact that I know that the tennis player Novak Djokovic is on the right side of history here. He has a podcast, and he talked to this guy, or no, he was a guest on a podcast. And Djokovic was talking about how he wants to give credit to Nikola Tesla, because he goes, without Tesla, we wouldn't have all this stuff called Wi-Fi and all these kind of things. And just Djokovic he's been trying to convey the whole idea of just like there's literally all these things that we think today are so elementary, and cell phone and Wi-Fi and all this stuff. This is like based on some mumbo jumbo stuff that was considered like pseudoscience back when it first, was even thought of. You know, that's why it's like, again, to paraphrase Tesla, he said that the minute the scientific community starts to starts to study the things that you can't see, that's when they will go leaps and bounds, by tenfold, quicker than the previous, I don't know how many centuries. You know?
Tesla said that.
Yeah, because it's obvious. It's like.
Dude, we got to talk about Tesla. And then that circles back to Ghostbusters, believe it or not. And it blew my mind. And I'm not talking about using Ghostbusters as a metaphor anymore.
Yeah, no, I hear. Listen, I mean, listen, I always tell people, if you took a cell phone today, right, and you transported back in time, even 200 years ago with a cell phone, and all you did was go, slide your finger left and right, to the different, where the apps are, different pages. First of all, they would look at you at the device itself, the physical device, the piece of plastic. They'd be like, "What the hell?" Okay, so it's a box or whatever, like a flat, Then you're just going left and right, and they'd be like, "Okay, time to burn you at the stake." It's kind of like the way you and I see Tic Tacs, knickknacks. Like what we're capable of to these people in the 1800s is what the Tic Tacs are capable of for us.
To some extent.
Yeah, I mean, relatively speaking, so very relatively, And I don't know. That's why I always tell people, like, whenever if somebody comes to you with an idea or some kind of, they're talking about something, even something from the Torah, don't dismiss it offhand. Don't dismiss, somebody's talking to you about Sod, or somebody's talking to you about ideas that, like, eventually, for example, things in the Torah or Kabbalah will merge, will be visibly observable, that they have merged with science, visibly. Don't dismiss that. You know what I mean? Because we're pretty much almost there. And we only know that from observing things like Wi-Fi and things like satellites, and 5G, Schmime-G, whatever you hold on that, but it's so obvious to me, at least to me. I don't know. It's just like, I mean, Joel Schroeder talks about this all the time, but I don't know. People are just kind of like, they don't really. They think it's like, oh, okay, like, yeah, of course we have this technology. Really? In 1990, we didn't have this technology. I mean, we probably had it. We just didn't have it, like, in abundance. We didn't have it, like, sold in stores to regular people. Like, dude, I can scan a document on my phone.
Yeah.
Before, you need a giant box where you're like, you're like the guy from Office Space. Why it say paper jam when there is no paper jam? One of these days I break this blanking machine. I go back to Riyadh, something prison, rape prison. Like, now I just go cam scanner, app, click, okay, and then it just, like, shrink. It's like magic. The thing is, like, you click on it and it, like, zooms, cuts away the corners of the paper. It turns it into black and white. It turns it into whatever kind of file you want. And that's it. If you want to pay a little extra, you'll remove the cam scanner logo. It's incredible. But and it looks like flippin' magic. Literally magic. Not like, I'm not saying that as like it's magic. Like to have like these commercials. Oh, it's magic. It's freaking actual, like alchemy. It's electronic alchemy. It's like, I can't even understand how they did this.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane.
It's they didn't, what's amazing, like, people think they created, like, people think scientists or science create stuff.
No, they just
science
uncover.
Just finds what's there.
Yeah, they uncover. That's it. It's like that statue analogy. What is it? I didn't the sculptor. I didn't sculpt the guy. I just chiseled away the edges.
Right.
I
revealed what was there.
What was under there? Yeah, I just chiseled away there was a rectangular shape, monolith, and I just chiseled away parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know that movie Ready Player
One? Yeah, that's what I'm trying to turn everybody into this. Take away their money, and they will have virtual money in this virtual society.
The stupid doesn't understand. The stupid fool doesn't understand that we are already in Ready Player One.
Yes.
Ready Player One. We are born in this condition.
Yes.
And
yes.
God already put us in this condition.
Yes.
Ready Player One is how we are.
Of
okay,
course.
so that was my horrible rendition of
Schmob. Werner Herzog. Okay, fine.
Once again, but basically, but listen. So check this out.
Mm-hmm.
Remember how I was saying that Gerald Schroeder was saying that they can't find where in the body, where in your brain you are experiencing sounds and visual stimuli.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, there's no, like, for instance, if you stub your toe, right?
Yeah.
You think that the pain that you're feeling is in your toe, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's something that there's a trigger in your brain, which sends an impulse to whatever. It's a complicated thing.
It wants you to like protect yourself.
It starts with the healing process. No, but the actual feeling, you're not feeling it in your foot.
That's healing.
And you're not even feeling. Yeah, and you're not feeling it in your brain.
Yeah.
So they never asked
So where are you
That's
feeling it? Your nerves or
That's
where?
a secret. Right. That's a question that they don't talk about.
Yeah.
If anybody studies it, they're not.
Dude, I remember having a conversation with a doctor friend of mine. And I asked him the question, why does your heart beat? He goes, well, he starts explaining to me the mechanism and this, and oxygen goes here, and this goes there, and the ventricle. I'm like, dude, you should explain to me the how. I'm asking you the why. And he's like, what do you mean the why? I'm like, why should it be? Like, what is the... What I didn't have the language to it. Now that I think about it, what I was really asking was, what is the ruach that makes that blood, that cell, go here and go there, and that thing pump on its own? What is the like intrinsic energy source, the original Rishon, Makor Rishon as we say?
It's called the Nephesh.
Yeah, first source that causes all of that machinery to work. Because you are breathing in oxygen, for that machinery to respond to that. And he goes to me, Gregory, we don't ask such questions in med school. I said, that's a big freaking problem, my friend. Yeah. That's a big freaking problem.
Here's what Gerald Schroeder said.
Yeah.
He was involved. He said this publicly, so I'm not concerned that I'm not blowing up his spot or anything, because he was on one of this Larry Kubrick, can't remember, one of these talk shows, and I'll find it.
You mean Larry King? Larry King, not Larry Kubrick.
Not Larry King. No. Mm-hmm. There's the guy. It's not it's kind of like a small show, just mainly for intellectuals, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So he says that he was involved with a project with American intelligence, where they were studying the morphic field, that is above the head of people. Let me say this again. There's some kind of vortex of energy, that can be detected over the head of somebody. So basically, the brain is a receiver. Mm-hmm. Functions as a receiver. Yeah. And it receives a signal. Yeah. That's you. Yeah. You are the signal.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah. So that would be the Nephesh, and that would correspond probably to the Nephesh aspect of your soul, which Rabbi Kessin teaches about. He describes it from obviously from the sources. Yeah. But it actually says that the Nephesh is part of your soul, but it is physical. Yeah. It is the only technically physical part of your consciousness. Mm-hmm. But it is the most refined of all physical structures. Mm-hmm. So Rabbi Kessin even said that in the future, hopefully near future, it might even be possible to detect it with some sort of instruments, because after all, it is physical. Even though it is the most distilled, the most refined of all physical structures, the most complex and beautiful of all physical structures in the physical universe, yet still it is a physical entity. Yeah. The Nephesh. Okay. Mm-hmm. So this is the signal that your brain is receiving. Mm-hmm. Okay, and that is you. So your brain is, basically, we can kind of recreate this idea. Like imagine you want to sit remotely somewhere, right? Yeah. And you don't want to go to the construction site, so you build a robot, right? Yeah. Which can receive your signal. I mean, you can control it remotely. Yeah. Right? And then you can use the robot as an avatar. Yeah. Right? To do whatever you need to do, but you don't actually have to be there. You could sit, you could be in bed or whatever, right? Yeah. That seems to be the case with reality. Now, why is Gerald Schroeder studying this with, or doing whatever experiments or whatever they're doing? He's doing with the NSA, with the National Security Agency, and all these other intelligence agencies, right? Because that seems to be the gold mine of information, because they have essentially accepted the reality of non-local consciousness.
Yeah. Well.
And so they realize that if your body receives your signal, so that means that if they can recreate your brain, for instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or let's say someone who is quote unquote passed away, right?
Yeah.
That means their receiver has broken.
Yeah.
Right? So what if you can rebuild that receiver?
It's crazy.
What if you can somehow build something similar to that receiver, which is right?
Yeah.
And then somehow be able to access those signals. And remember who these signals are. These signals are conscious beings. These are people.
Yeah.
Okay? So in their natural state.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So you can perhaps harness that as a source of information, perhaps the ultimate source of information.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're looking to figure out how to weaponize this.
Yeah.
So let's think about that. And I have to go.
Gotcha.
Because I'm looking at it says 8:30.
I hear.
I can't believe it.
Well, I hear that, man. Well, that was short. Well, relatively short. 2 hours. Huh. But it was.
So think about it like this. So can I give one last thought? I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
So the idea is like this. So Ready Player One, right? So when people are, let's say, born into this world, so they let's say you put on your helmet or your virtual reality, whatever, goggles, whatever they're doing over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get absorbed into this world, right? Which is, you're not really there, but you're experiencing it. It's a type of virtual world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, this is a metaphor. It's not a perfect metaphor, right? But then, so you spend all your time in this world, and then when time's up, somebody takes the goggles off, and you forget that you're not that there was. You forget about a reality where there's no goggles.
Mm-hmm.
You forget that was a helmet.
Yeah.
You were so absorbed into it that you forget you were just wearing a helmet all the time, and that's not really where you lived.
Yeah.
And think about it, because where are we? We talked about where do we experience sensory? Where do we experience feelings, or like your eyes pick up visual signals, so you see something. Your ears pick up audio signals, you hear. You touch, you taste. Where are these things being experienced? It's not in your body.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all of that is your body is sending information, and you are experiencing this in the higher dimensions where you are really from.
Yeah. Well.
So basically, what happens is when your body, falls apart, right? So then that automatically just means like the game is over, and then you wake up in the reality that you were in the whole time.
Yeah. Crazy. So. Next episode is 43. Do you know what I want to talk about?
What'd you say?
Next episode is 43. The one after this one.
Wait. We're supposed to extend 42 to 5 parts. Remember, we're going to do the kavanot.
Oh, you want to do it like this?
I think so, because 42 is big, man. 42 is like creation itself.
This is okay.
Like 33 is epic, and 42 is one of those.
Oh my goodness.
Huge.
Okay. Huh. Okay, so maybe like
I don't know. Yeah, it's just a thought.
Okay.
You're the.
Well, I mean, I just want to say for 43, so we keep it in mind.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the year 1943. And can I list real quick just some of the things we can speak about? The Soviet Union announces that German 22 German divisions have been encircled in Stalingrad. That's one. I mean, it's all to do with World War II. Not all, but most. The Guadalcanal campaign, Japanese forces withdraw from Guadalcanal. There was even a movie made about that.
Yeah.
There's also the Pentagon is dedicated in Arlington, Virginia in 1943. Soviet officials announced that the Red Army has broken the Wehrmacht siege of Leningrad as part of Operation Iskra. You know, the siege, like people couldn't get food and everything. And Georgy Zhukov is promoted Marshal of the Soviet Union. That's January 18th, by the way, 1943, which is, I think, today, right? The first Warsaw ghetto uprising begins January 18th, 1943. Wow. Okay, Pan Am flight something crashes, never mind, okay. Roundup of Marseille, 4,000 Jews detained in Marseille. Let's see, what else? This is just January alone. Let's see, February. This is all World War II stuff. So I can write down just a series of the most important things. Mohandas Gandhi keeps his hunger strike. Soviet Union reconquers Kharkov. Kharkov is where all the tanks came from. So they reconquered. Joseph Goebbels, in his Sport Palace speech in Berlin, February 18th, 43, Joseph Goebbels declares total war against the Allies, tacitly admitting that Nazi Germany faces serious dangers. There's a lot of stuff. This is just February. February 43 is just like a whole list over here on Wikipedia. Interesting things. But
So I have to go. I have to answer some phone calls. But can you link? Can you link the? I'll send you the Anna Bakoach. Can you put Anna Bakoach, like the actual prayer, as a thumbnail? And then maybe I'll send you the link. Yeah. Or I don't know if you can use that photograph that I sent you.
Yeah, I'll find something. All
right, cool. Yeah. All right. I gotta answer these people. But
all right, sir.
Awesome, dude.
Hatzlacha. All right. Talk soon.
All right, brother.
All right.